Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast. Really glad you're there. Harley on the headlines is what we call this because we're looking at the headlines of the day. Might have an opinion or two here and there, you know. We never know what the day's going to offer. I mean, look, when I got up today, I thought there's not much going on. Boy, was I wrong. Wow. So much, and some of it takes a little time to tell, but that's why we're here, right? Hope you hit like, follow, and subscribe. Invite some more people to come in. If you're brand new, thank you so much for joining us. We'll try to have a good time. Now, here's an excellent Supreme Court decision. It reverses decades of habit and history and one previous decision. It's related to executive power, which the Constitution puts in the purview of the president. Everybody knows that. The Congress writes the laws, the Supreme Court interprets them, and the cases it considers. That's how the government's power is divided up. Now, what's happened over the years is Congress has created a myriad of agencies, each one its own level or section of the vast bureaucracy that really runs the government. Those agencies have been called independent, but they never really have been. They have become a power unto themselves, dedicated first to their own power, second to keeping their job, and third, or maybe even first, furthering a political agenda that they share with the Congress that created them. Habit and history have said that once Congress creates a bureaucratic layer and the president appoints members of a board to run it, that's it. He and the country are stuck with it, stuck with the board and its leader, even though they are doing an executive's job. That's key. It's part of the machinery that has created the huge and unwieldy bureaucracy of Washington and that has resisted every attempt to pare it down to size. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled no, that's not right. The power of the executive is, in fact, the purview. It lies in the hands of the president. He can fire those board members if he chooses to do so because they do executive work, except for the Federal Reserve. In a parallel decision, the High Court held that those jobs are truly independent. So the upshot of the case is, Trump versus Slaughter, is that the Supreme Court says Justice Antonin Scalia got it right in his dissenting opinion on a previous case, which he said long before Trump, by the way, that executive authority, all executive authority in the federal government belongs to the president. So what does that mean? Well, one, it gives every president more power over how federal agencies will operate because the boards of those agencies will answer to him or her, not to Congress. Now, I think that's interesting because I know it's been my impression all this time that all the bureaucratic agencies really kind of worked for Congress that set them up, and it has worked that way, but not anymore. Number two, it gives the president, who wants to reduce the size of government and make it less of a yoke on the people's neck, more power to do so by making sure the executive boards of those agencies share his or her vision. In other words, if a candidate like Trump or like whoever's next runs on a campaign that says, I'm going to reduce the size of government, and we say, yes, go do that, maybe they can. Maybe they'll be able to, because they'll make sure that those who are running those agencies may share the vision of shrinking or even getting rid of the agency itself. In short, it makes the bureaucracy more answerable to the people who put the president in charge of running the government instead of a weight and an authority over them. Now, Democrats are pissed. They hate this. But that's momentary because eventually they too will have a president who might join hands with them again in expanding the bureaucracy and its power over the people. It could happen. Just because you turn it around, if we ever do, doesn't mean it'll stay that way. But it's worth it. Those of us who drink a lot of coffee already know this. Coffee's good for you. And not just one cup a day either. Researchers at College Cork in Ireland studied whether coffee and how much of it affects good gut bacteria. Man, I don't know what I'd do without my coffee. The short answer is about 4 cups a day is good for your gut, in addition to keeping you alert and less anxious. Decaf is also good because it maintains high levels of polyphenols in it when they make it, and that can be good for learning and your memory, even if it doesn't perk up your mood as much. The best and most helpful coffee, by the way, is black coffee. It's also prebiotic, may help your body fight cancer or prevent cancer from starting in the first place. So coffee is not simply a stimulant. It interacts with the brain, the immune system, your metabolism, and now we know your gut microbiome as well. It's all good. Now, this is a little bit surprising. California has long had a reputation for having good public schools and a generally well-educated population. Turns out, on a list of the bottom 10, the least educated cities, 6 of them are in California. Maybe that's why they keep electing lefties, to ruin their state. Just kidding. The least educated city in America is Visalia in California, gateway to the Sequoias. Add to the list Bakersfield, Modesto, Salinas, Fresno, and Stockton. Now, here's a grain of salt or two. This ranking is all about college. How many people there have a college degree, bachelor's, or higher? In my experience, a college education is no guarantor of intelligence and certainly not of common sense. Doesn't make you smarter than those around you who didn't or maybe couldn't go. It does demonstrate dedication, stick-to-itivity, and the chance that you learn some very important things. But it also tends to mean you were indoctrinated in progressive thinking, which for many folks is an oxymoronic term. Not a whole lot of actual progress in progressivism. Anyway, this is not meant as a slam on higher education, far from it. It also should not be seen as a way of calling those towns dumber than the rest. I mean, think about it. Tops on the list are Ann Arbor, Michigan, meaning tops on the list, the most educated towns in America, Ann Arbor, Durham, North Carolina, San Jose, California, Washington, D.C., and Madison, Wisconsin, all uber-liberal college towns. What does that tell you? Answer, it tells you what you take from it. Now, if you're paying much attention, you've noticed that during this 250th anniversary year of the founding of this nation, there are all kinds of shows streaming about Washington, Jefferson, Adams, and many others. Some who didn't found anything, but did have impactful presidencies or lives in commerce and advanced knowledge. Most of them endeavor to show their subjects, most of these shows, want to show the subjects, warts and all. That way we find, hopefully, a greater understanding of these mostly men than we are given in sanitized history books. Once you know, for example, that Thomas Jefferson believed and knew that slavery was a terrible thing, he not only refused to set his own slaves free, that even included Sally Hemings, the slave with whom he fathered some of his children. Former President Barack Obama has been busy of late talking about how flawed the Founding Fathers were and about how much he admires them nonetheless, despite those flaws. Just mighty good of him, don't you think? His latest comments at the Obama Presidential Center.
Forming our union, the founders fell terribly short of the Declaration's promise, leaving slavery intact, allowing states to restrict the franchise to white men who own property. But in drafting a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, they did have the foresight, the genius, to provide us with a framework that allows each generation to make our union more perfect. Values every president here today, as different as we are, has tried our best to uphold. Values that John McCain and Mitt Romney believed in no less than I did. It is our greatest inheritance the story of America at its best, because it reflects a basic faith in the decency of our fellow citizens and the possibility that, despite all of our differences, we can see each other and understand one another and make common cause together.
Sometimes he makes a lot of sense, right? It's always easy to start to deconstruct what Barack Obama says when he uses terms like more perfect for the American Union or common cause for our direction. Not doing that right now. At the moment, I say he's right. We must not yank our founding fathers, historic and heroic visionaries that they absolutely were, from their pedestals because we find out they were human and they lived during different times with a myriad of influences and habits that would take decades to reshape in pursuit of that more perfect union. Seems that battle continues. The Roman Catholic Archdiocese of San Francisco has reached a settlement with hundreds of people who were sexually abused by priests when they were kids. 530 of them, mostly boys, now grown men. It's $395 million. A ghastly chunk goes to the lawyers. Victims will get something. The Archdiocese went bankrupt over it and promises to make sure weirdo priests don't do that kind of thing again. Thousands of people are dead, no doubt, in the Venezuelan earthquakes, and some are surely suffering and going to die because the government there is so damn inept. In fact, if you don't have a permit and an approved job to do, they won't let you in to help. The idea of that makes some sense. I mean, they don't want to see these big piles of rubble with people running all over them like ants. I mean, I got that. But it stops making sense when recovery is not getting done, when rubble is not being cleared and people are not being found as quickly as they might be, when medical help is not allowed in or supplies are not allowed in because some commie military bureaucrat full of themselves, bozo blocks whole teams of people who went down there with expertise to help out. There are lots of videos from people and rescuers who are not being allowed to rescue, but they're mostly in angry Spanish, and I don't know enough Spanish to translate. One reporter, Catherine Ellis, was among those waiting for a bus to take the press in to the scenes of destruction to try to tell the story. Guess what? They don't want them there. In most countries, being a reporter gives you some access. She posted a video on X that's worth checking out.
We're here at the press centre, which is very quickly emptying because we were meant to leave at 8 a.m, but it's 9-something now and we still haven't left. The accreditation team have no idea what's happening. The operations team, logistics team have absolutely no idea what's happening. They told me, you have to be patient, you have to wait. This is not a normal situation. Of course it's not a normal information, but it's the Ministry of Communications organising this, and we haven't heard anything. We haven't been told, sorry, there's a delay, we don't know what's happening, or sorry, there's a delay because of this reason. We're here, and there are journalists that aren't here that are texting us, telling us that the trip is cancelled, that we might not be able to go for 48 hours. We have these wristbands. We're only supposed to be able to go in bus with the government, but no one's telling us anything. Literally have absolutely no idea. So this is the Ministry of Communications communicating pretty badly.
There are also reports that instead of helping, corrupt members of the National Guard and the National Police in Venezuela have been seen not helping, but actually stealing household appliances, food, and cash from collapsed buildings and crushed businesses. Plus, those government forces are preventing citizens using guns from helping to clear the rubble. It's reprehensible stuff, but that's socialism and communism for you. Government gets in its own way. It's not new, it's just ugly, and it's sad. We don't know why a 12-year-old tourist, a young boy, was allowed to get too close to a buffalo at Yellowstone National Park. Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, pay attention. But he paid for it by having the bison run him over. He was not killed. He was taken to a hospital for treatment. The incident happened near the Mud Volcano area, very popular, about 20 miles northeast of Old Faithful. And park rangers are urged by the incident to remind people again that a bison can run about 3 times as fast as a pretty quick human, which means about 5 times faster than me. So give them space. They say at least 25 yards minimum. That's 75 feet or so. Seems too close to me. 100 yards from bears, wolves, and cougars. That's a football field. It might be far enough as long as safety, a car, a truck, a slamming door, or a 30-06 is right at your elbow. And lastly, I know a person who is Jewish who, of course, eschews pork. Eschews. That's one of those words. Doesn't have anything to do with chewing, which is fortunate given this subject. On the other hand, it does mean she passes up or refuses to chew pork, or in this case, bacon. Now, I, as a longtime lover of pork chops, bacon, roast ham, even fried pork skins, am not hamstrung by any kind of limitations. None. I mean, I'm an omnivore. I eat everything. No, except for one thing. I will never, as in not ever, will I again be in the close proximity of the preparation and cooking of chitlins. Those who have done that know what I'm talking about. For those who have not, just trust me and give that kitchen or cook pot a very wide berth. Okay, so out of the point. This journalistic pursuit of the truth was born of some dog food that had bacon flavoring in it. And since I have myself eaten all manner of things, including things like potato chips with bacon flavor, and have long assumed that it meant there was some actual bacon in it, I decided maybe we ought to find out. What an education. Ain't no bacon in artificial bacon flavoring. Why? Here's one of the big reasons. Because it might hurt the feelings and the dietary sensibilities of vegans, and the FDA says so. To create bacon flavor without actually putting some pig in the package, food scientists who guard their recipes like they matter say start with capturing wood smoke from sources like hickory, maple, mesquite, applewood, or alder. Add yeast, extracts of yeast, then soybean, canola, and or sunflower oil to carry the fat-soluble compounds, and spices like onion, garlic, chili pepper, paprika, and rosemary, plus some lab-synthesized extracts from meats, which is not to say actual meat, since the vegans might swoon over it. Top it off with some preservatives, and presto, bacon flavor. Okay, class is not over yet. How did this happen? Turns out it started during World War II, when there were real shortages of meat. And not just soldiers, but people wanted to eat food that tasted and smelled real. So scientists got to work, and they made something that would make tofu smell like Charlotte the Pig on a rotating campfire spit. Okay, now, class dismissed with proof that education is not enough to change behavior anyway, sometimes. She still won't eat my chips. Says they smell like bacon. I guess that'll do it. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for tuning in today. I sure hope you'll come back, bring some folks with you. You've given me some of your time, and I sure do appreciate it. I hope you'll pop in from time to time. Check out HarleyCarnes.com, and you can find the podcast if you're looking on Spotify, X, Facebook too. I'm Harley Carnes. Until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious choices in your life. Make a decision to be happy. And fly safe. It's the only way to get there.